Good evening, people from the Cape Flats. Mense van die Kaapse vlakte, hoop het gaan goed saam met julle. Ladies, I hope you had an awesome Women's Day. I know a lot of you guys attended some events. I know my friends at Siazana at an event. I know Simplified IT Management at an event. So, and all the other organizations. Thank you for celebrating the amazing women in the communities. You know, ek was so hartseer geweest because my ma was een van die Cake Sisters, man. She used to go on Women's Day to mothers' rallies, and then you would hear hoe getuige sisters nou oor hulle struikel, blokke en so aan in die lewe, and they would always encourage us through the testimony. So I hope you ladies had an awesome Women's Day. A bit of a sad story for me this last few days with the story of Nikita. I don't know if you guys have been following that story. That is extremely sad. You know what? Aside from being on Cape Flats Stories and being Uncle Stan, I'm also a daddy. And I can't, just to think about it, your own child, to hurt a child, you know, or what type of monster are you? There must be something serious wrong with you. And in our community, sorry to say this, we breed a lot of these people and we protect them. So I want you guys to follow the story, support where you can. It's important for us to shine the light. So social media influencers, keep your eyes on the story, share it, because we have the platforms now to do so. And then a very other sad story is the one of the lady that was killed in Manenberg. So from what I read, she was a witness in the brother's murder, right? They killed the brother in front of her and some other members. So the goed is cruel, the goed is ruthless. And that's why I feel nothing for a gangster. You know, we all have choices, and that is what they choose. And so she was killed on Women's Day in Manenberg. And a few meters away, they were celebrating Women's Day. So what type of Women's Day is that, you know? Shouldn't she also have been in witness protection? Shouldn't she been protected? Why is she roaming in the street, in a community where your brother was killed? You know, once again, is it the management of SAPS, the people that makes the decisions, that is supposed to be blamed for this? So I'm going to leave the question with you guys, but I think we should maybe focus on this story as well. And we need to stop talking a lot. We need to start going to the courts. We need to start keeping these people accountable. And when it comes to voting time, we know who's in charge. We need to start making them pay, you know, for the decisions they can make. But tonight, I have a very special guest in the studio with me. You guys know since day one, since the 18th, I went to go look on the stats on the page. Since the 18th of September, we've been following the story, and I've always posted, and I've always keep you guys updated with the stories that came from the newspapers and so on. I think it was a sad day when we lost Charl Kinnear, one of our top cops, you know, because of greedy people. You know, the underworld is an ugly place. It's a business. It's a billion-rand business, you know, and so they will keep you quiet because they don't want you to interact with them or to expose them. But without any further ado, I'm gonna say hello to Nicolette. Nikki, welcome to Cape Flats Stories.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Nikki, tell us first of all, how have you been the last? It's 5 years. It will be 5 years September next month. And you mentioned it was his birthday last week.
Yeah.
Tell us more about his birthday. What did you guys, you know, just do?
You know what? Obviously, celebrations or birthdays, Christmas time, special days are always difficult. So for the past 4 years, we spend, while we go and we spend the day, or I do anyway, I'll spend it by the grave. Go, do fresh flowers, special colors, because that is the way we can commemorate our wedding anniversary, his birthday, and then of course the 18th of September. I also when it all, you know, everything ended. I also that day. We still treat it as a very special day. Yeah. So that is what it. You know, everything changes, and I also, over the Christmas period, and I'm out. I never wish people, you know, Happy Christmas or Happy New Year.
Yeah.
I say blessed.
Yeah.
Because I've got nothing to be happy about. Well, I shouldn't say it, but I'm not happy.
Yeah.
It's a family time. Everywhere people are going, it's families, and so I can't go around and say I'm happy at that stage. Blessed, yes. Blessed to be here, blessed to have my kids, blessed to have, you know, a lot of other things. But yeah, definitely not happy.
The night before your husband was assassinated, right? You went to go speak to an informant, from what I've read. Also noticing that his phone was pinged more than 2,000 times.
Yeah.
And from the alleged guy in prison, currently now running on trial, Zain. What was your husband's last words to you? You know, because he obviously knew something, and so the previous night when you went out, this is what's going up under my head. When you went to go see a very important person, and you obviously got important information that could have taken down a whole cabal, and I think that is why the next day he was assassinated.
Look, there's such a lot of things that's intertwined with Charles' assassination. You're referring to the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Now, a week prior to that, there was a killing in the main road in Gordons Bay. We were a drive-by with a motorbike or whatever. So that Wednesday, he was not, when it happened, he wasn't in Cape Town. He was in Johannesburg. So that particular Wednesday, he went to see somebody about that case. And we also now know that the assassination actually had to happen that Wednesday. And obviously with him still hitting a detour or whatever the case may be, things went wrong.
Yeah.
We also know today that on that Wednesday, a call was made to the AGU base, telling them daar was ronde tafel gehou en Kinnear moet val. Well, that is things that came out in the IPID report. Was he informed? No. The Wednesday evening, when he came home, though, he mentioned to me, and it's no secret that I've been very vocal about, especially crime intelligence in the Western Cape, as well as the Western Cape Hawks. My husband never trusted them, and he mentioned to me that night that he went to buy himself a cool drink or something in one of the malls or whatever there, and he walked into a Hawks member. But then we were sitting on the bed, and then shortly after that, General Lincoln called him and asked him where he was. How were you? And he said, I'm home, General. Why? And he asked about, well, both of them are now late because last year we lost Sergeant van der Horst, which was my husband's partner. And he asked where she was, and then he said, well, she's home as well, Jen. So he said, why? So he said, your phones are being pinged excessively. And the first thing my husband did was to call the rest of his detectives because Tisha was a single mom and not married. And he said, you guys need to keep your phones on and you need to go and drive around. Make sure you drive and make sure nobody puts their phones off. We now know that an instruction was given to Flying Squad. This is now all based on the classified IPA document, and we can leave it to the public to decide why they think ultimately it was classified and locked in Parliament, because I can't see why you would classify an IPA document, what is threatening the state. But anyway, be that as it may, we now know that instruction was given to the Flying Squad to patrol by us. Now, if you know anybody who knows Bishop Lavers, knows the bridge running across past Clark Estate is known as 35th Avenue. The closest Flying Squad vehicle was tracked on 35th Avenue. Now, that is easily, could be 1, maybe 2 kilometers from my house. So these are things that obviously all came to light. Well, I knew about it, but we could never speak about it because of the classified document. That is what he did. On that particular week, he was the standby officer, which meant any major crime, actually all crime, serious and violent crime, had to come via him. So he would get stats from all the stations and whatever, and he would need to compile a report in terms of what happened. So obviously there's a lot of information coming through, and he was sitting that Wednesday evening busy updating whatever stats he had received when the late General Lincoln called him. And the Thursday he went to work as per normal. The Friday morning, the 18th of September, he left a bit earlier because of they having this standby meeting where things need to be reported back. So there's a lot of things going, people adding on their own tales. He met with General Veery. He rushed or stormed out by General Veery's office, and he came home late or angry, and all of this happened on the Friday, which is not true. It's not true. I'm also honest. A lot of people know there's no love lost between General Veery and myself. And I'm honest about that. He claims to had been my husband mentor for 23 years. But to this day, yes, he's now out of the service. But he was still in the service, I think, 2 years after my husband's assassination. Where he would, I remember the one memorial said, until the last drop of blood, we will fight. And that he was on the same hit list as my husband. And indeed he was. For some reason or the other, the Western Cape's police organogram is also weird. That we've got a provincial commissioner. Then, like in my husband's case, he was placed as a special unit. So we had the late General Lincoln as his commander. But then we had a provincial detective head, which was General Veery. So my question has always been, that's their chaos. It's got nothing to do with me. But bottom line is your provincial detective head had the right, basically, over every detective still. Hence, he could, General Veery could task him to go and fetch a docket wherever, take a docket, do an investigation. That was that. So, which also obviously I can imagine causes friction if you're running a unit and whatever. But be that as it may, Charl was old school. Following protocol was important to him. So he was stationed at AGU. So his first port of call was General Lincoln.
Okay.
Always. So they had this meeting in town, and his pinging started past 2 that particular morning. We know that I was pinged, he was pinged. Stats have come out in court where it would have been coordinates were given to the point to exactly when he would be where. This happened since 2017, even when he was down at his doing his Joburg investigations. When is he at the guest house? How far is the guest house from court? It's just God's grace that they didn't manage to get to him when they planned to. Then he left the meeting. We know he attended the meeting in town. He left the meeting in town, and the pinging immediately. He was pinged all the time. He went to the base, and he was at the base, and then for a while there was no pinging. The moment he left the base, the pinging started again. Now, we also know that Zane Killian had said that pinging entails picking up of a cell phone tower.
Yeah.
That has been explained in length, which is absolutely true. But if I know where I'm coming and I've been following you for 6 months, I've been pinging you, I know which tower follows which when you are heading home. So let us now not think we're all green and a cabbage.
Yeah.
So because it's been proclaimed, everybody knew where we lived. How would he know where is he going? It doesn't tell you, it picks up the closest tower. Absolutely. You've been pinging my husband since March.
Yeah.
So the moment he started hitting certain towers, you knew where he was going.
Yeah.
So to just to answer and clarify that, because that is the one thing, he was in a chemist in Springs. He testified in court. He could ping from anywhere.
Yeah.
In his own words. So what does the fact that he was in Springs in a chemist has to do with it in the first place? Nobody knows. But be that as it may, if we look at the video footage, it does look as though my husband had to be assassinated within our driveway. If we see the direction from which the shooter came. It was just God's grace, because we've got 2-meter high walls, we've got 2-meter high, if not higher, gate. We knew what we were dealing with. Charl knew his life was threatened. I knew. In 2019, we had the attempted hand grenade attack. With that,
There was 2 attempts.
it was supposed to be 6.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a hand grenade. There was supposed to be a drive-by. There had to be a petrol bomb. If the hand grenade didn't work, the next attack had to be the following morning at 6 o'clock. So we knew all of this. We weren't living in a bubble. So hence, when my husband, once he entered home and he would close the gate, he would be over the track. He would close the gate. Okay. So like I mentioned, if we look at the footage, you could see that the assassination had to happen in the driveway, which would mean the shooter would literally come in. He would be on the side, because he was walking on the side of our home. It also it chills down my spine if I think if that gate was closed, and he fired his 5 shots. No matter how we prepared our children over the years. I mean, I'll never forget the evening my husband had to sit my kids down. And yes, they were big. 19 and 24, I think at the time, yeah. But still, to have any dad need to sit your children down and explain to them what to do, because we got info that we are going to get the hand grenade attack. So we expected it on the 15th already. The 14th, Colonel K was assassinated in a similar way. There's a lot of rumors saying that was meant for my husband. We also know that within the police force, my husband is referred to as Colonel K.
Okay.
Because a lot of people can't pronounce our surname. So hence the morning when Colonel K was assassinated, everybody, or a lot of people flocked to my house, at that particular, thinking it was my husband. Yeah. But Colonel K was assassinated the 14th. The 13th, intel came. That was now in 2019. The 13th, the intel came. Serbians were here in the country to take out my husband and General Lincoln, who were attending a meeting up at head office at that time. So with that intel coming, when they landed, both General Lincoln and my husband was placed under immediate protection. And the morning of the 14th, with the late Colonel K's death, they had just picked up my husband when the call came through of what had happened. So we all know we then had guarding. And the guarding was stopped on the 19th of December. And I remember this very clearly because it was 2 days before Stachy's funeral.
Yes.
And my first thoughts were that we know there's going to be a heavy police presence at the funeral. So maybe it was like sort of for the numbers, having all boots on the ground, etc. So the Thursday and the Friday, the Thursday evening, the guys just didn't lock up for the night shift. And I left it. And then eventually in January, I went to media and I raised my concerns as a wife. My husband and I were married in 2020. We were married for 26 years already. And before that, so we were literally together, you can say, for 36 years because we dated for 10. And there were many things over the years that obviously came our way. But 2017, things changed. When Charles started investigating the Underworld, the Nafis Modaks, things changed. Call it my sixth sense, call it the Holy Spirit, but there was something just not right. And if I say that, I say it that we, at some stage when our kids were young, threats would also come. And then we would tell the kids we're going away on holiday. In the meantime, we are just moving out of the way. But there was just something in me that said, this is different. What happened? SAPS, the new PC was here, which was then General Matakata and General Lincoln, wanted to send my husband back to Seapoint because they felt that was going to be the solution. And in a way, I think that if I read the documents and things that has now surfaced, and I read the late General Lincoln's statements, he never believed that I drafted, that I spoke to the media. He knew my husband he spoke his mind. And I think that he genuinely believed that it was him. And to the point where I actually called the late General Lincoln and said, but why are you conversing with my husband? He doesn't know what's in that article. I do. And while the letter was drafted, suggesting that he should go back to Seapoint, and he refused. Because the simple reason why I refused, and I've asked that question, was, what were you going to do? The problem wasn't where my husband was stationed. The problem was what he had uncovered. So it was in his head. And I said, what you going to do? Are you going to brainwash him from Fora to back to Seapoint? And my husband's argument was that we are in danger because of what he had uncovered. Now they give you the dockets to take over. It's another family. We are just extending this problem instead of trying to close it down. And came out also in court and in the upper documents, we know that he had union meetings and with the general, and then eventually stayed. Didn't go anywhere, and that's so why was that AGU at the time of his death. The questions: who withdrew the carding? When was it withdrawn? At that time, the late General Mufazi was the acting provincial commissioner. We know that only the provincial commissioner has the right to take such decisions. In our case, there are so many lates.
There's a lot of lates.
There's too many lates. And as the saying goes, dead man tells no tales.
Exactly.
So but that it was raised, it was done. The guarding never came back. The pinging started in March. So for me, I always explain the scenario. Charl contacted me the 3rd or the 5th of September when he was in Johannesburg. And he said, listen, they just called me and said, my phone is being excessively pinged. And my words were, what are you going to do? And they said he's waiting because by that time, when he went to Johannesburg for investigations, he travelled with protection and his detective because they went to work. They went to do investigations. So he had a crew with him. They could easily have been 15 probably, maybe less or more. So he said, I've got people here. Because they knew who was pinging. They knew who was pinging. They knew it was him.
Because when your husband, the night of your husband, the day when your husband was assassinated, I think about 2 weeks later, a week later, they actually went to...
the Monday.
The Monday, yeah. It was
Monday.
Yeah,
it was literally the Monday.
Yeah.
So they knew exactly where to go. But now we're stuck with... You had a Hawks officer who came to testify in the High Court that discovered this, the pinging. He alerted DPCI to it by a report and by a whatever the case may be. DPCI did nothing. This officer, in my opinion, as a police officer, because I know that's how it worked with my husband, he would go and he would maybe be busy with investigating a murder, gang-related murder.
Yeah.
Now, in that process, while investigating, he stumbles onto something else. He's bound by oath. He can't walk away from that something else because I've got a murder docket.
Yeah.
He needs to tend to it. So when the DPCI, when this officer, the warrant officer, stumbled onto Zayn Killian, pinging. Pinging in South Africa is illegal.
It's a crime.
It's a crime.
Yes.
So DPCI, under Lieutenant General, Advocate, whatever he loves to call himself, Labia, they committed a crime. They allowed a crime to be committed.
Yes.
They allowed. I always say with my husband's case, it's like you're getting intel, F&B, St. George's Mall is going to be robbed.
Yes.
You get the vehicles to park, we're watching, we're having a stakeout.
Yeah.
We watch them rob, we allow them to go into the bank, we watch them rob, we watch them come out, and we let them get away.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened. Because the intel came, there's going to be a hit.
Yes.
Nothing was put into place. You knew since March there was pinging.
Yeah.
In September, the warrant officer picked up something is not right here.
Yeah.
The intensity has picked up tremendously on how many pings is being done.
Yeah.
And how often it's being done. He alerted them to it. Nothing was done. In actual fact, IPID recommended that warrant officer needs to be charged. Because as IPID says in the report, the death, and this is the conclusion, and I quote it, the death of the late Lt Col Kinnear could have and should have been prevented if the members implicated in this report had just done their work as mandated to them by the South African Constitution. End of story.
The question that I want to ask you, Nikki, your husband was busy investigating the disappearing of guns, right? Was it one of the cases also?
He wasn't investigating the disappearing of firearms. He was investigating firearms licensing.
Okay. And I believe there was a case also just prior to that where they got this one guy sitting somewhere at a restaurant giving licenses to gang members. So I think that your husband was one of the guys on it. Yes.
Because sadly, and whether it's all about money. It's all about money. The normal person, you and I, who goes and applies for a gun license, I mean, you'll often hear people say, I've been waiting for 2 years. The reality is, depending on how much you pay, some people got these. I'm speaking about from start to your finish competence certificate, you would get it 5 days, if not sooner. That is the reality, what is happening.
Yeah.
The reality was when my husband walked into CFR and whether SAPS wants to admit it or not, you just had doors bang as they disappeared. We know that he arrested Nafis Modak and a lot of his family members, together with brigadiers and other high-ranking officers there for this. That case is now ongoing. I think it's been placed on Johannesburg High Court roll. But that was the realities that we were being faced. The fact that we never had guarding. We look at General Nkonazi. Everybody is now, why didn't General follow protocol? Because the General knows how many others hasn't followed protocol and nothing is done. He's not stupid, he's a General.
Yes.
He knows. My husband drafted a 59-page document complaining about crime intelligence, complaining about the Western Cape crime intelligence. General Nkonazi focused more on the national, but he highlighted some stuff in there. it was proven. SAP sent 2 different groups, what they would call the DNC, which is your generals, to come and investigate my husband's, because I get it. You can't just get a document from a colonel and just say, everything that this colonel's saying is true. So I will, and my husband understood that. Twice, prior to his death and after, a group was sent via SAPS, which was mandated by the National Commissioner, go and investigate what this colonel is saying. The report said clearly there needs to be serious intervention, needs to be taken in the Western Cape. IPA did investigated that same document my husband drafted. They came to the same conclusion. Judge Tulari made his judgment. He came to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
So who's wrong? If you and let it be known that each time when different groups investigated, it wasn't the same people. That's why I said we've been on this merry-go-round, because it's convenient.
Yeah.
If a journalist or people ask, how far are you with the Kinnear investigation? It's convenient to say there's still an investigation running. So let's quickly give you another task to go investigate the same thing that somebody else did a month ago.
Yes. But it's 5 years already, Nikki. It's 5 years that they have been busy with the case. And in the process, more people are dying. Are they dragging this case? Because is it not only SAPS and corrupt officials that's involved, but also politicians? Is there, who else is involved here? Who are they hiding?
Who's hiding who?
Yeah.
That is the question that we need to ask. Who is hiding who? Because if I look at how many generals left, if I look at how many people that were identified in the IPA document left, and graciously retiring with a pension, and that is one of the reasons why I opened up a culpable homicide docket against everybody implicated in that IPA document. Because everybody is sort of abandoning ship or leaving. I told Minister Charlie when he was still minister at that time, I said, you caught with your hand in the cookie jar. I said, there's no crumbs left in this jar.
Yeah.
And that is the reality that we're facing. And you know what is so sad is that, like in our case, I always say, because if you look at everything that's come out in court, the things that had to happen. Now, if you know Cape Town and you know Fora, the old army base and stuff, you need to drive down the R300. You need to go down Muirway. You need to go down the N2. So there were so many routes where you could just be taken out. Remember, we were in September, we were still practically, I think we were in level 3 or something on lockdown.
Yes.
So most people were home.
Yes.
It's a Friday afternoon. Everybody knows in our communities, kinders is buite, all that kind of stuff. Yet, they were prepared to take that risk. But I think the message that needed to be sent out, and that is why all the attacks that was planned on us prior, from the hand grenade, petrol bomb, myself and my kids, because they had to happen in the middle of the night, where were we supposed to be? So we had to be there, because I think the message that needed to be sent out by whoever and everyone that's involved is, it needed to scare the next detective for a couple of years to wanting to touch it again. Because if you sign up and decide to sign up and take an oath for SAPS, you do that. Yes, I marry you. I know you're a police officer. But I didn't sign up for my life also and my kids, So the message was sort of, I think any first respondent goes out every day, not knowing whether he's going to come back. But when it comes to your family, it's going to then we ask the question, this one was arrested for this, that one was arrested for that. We hear these stories every day in our streets. But Monday was out.
That's
is this not why the quality of our investigations that's being done looks the way it is? Because after all, as an officer, I need to think of my family also. Because SAPS is not. If they could do nothing for a colonel, what are they going to do for me who's a constable?
Yes.
So I'm asking. And there are so many good officers out there. Putting their lives on the line for me, for you, for other families, every day, and women. But to what point? To where can I go? I know how my husband was treated. You know, your best of friends, sort of, because it's putting your bread on your table. And just now they see us together too much. They're going to think we together in this. And also people are victimized. You are victimized to give such and such a statement. How many people weren't victimized to give statements against my husband? To try and frame them.
And also the what Modek said, he actually said, I think recently, it's a cop that actually killed your husband. That was one of the statements.
That he made. But then again, he's made so many statements. He's made a statement. It's General Veery and the late General Lincoln. My point is this: if I've been stuck, he's been in prison for what? 4 years. 4 years now. Give the info to your legal representation then. Don't put these statements and throw it out in the air and you've got nothing, to justify it. So I can also say it's a cop. But where's the proof?
There must be proof.
Where's the proof? A lot of people want to say, yes, the shooter was never found, this, that, whatever. I learned, obviously I would like the shooter to be found. But with the hand grenade, for example, the guy that came to throw, I learned with him, it was me asking you asking him to do a favor. So that type of thing. So he knew what he was going to do. He just wanted to get his full, even met full normal cry, and that was it. He didn't really know the history of whatever. Still went to tuck before the time, all that kind of stuff. So for me, I've got my own sentiments about the shooter. People ask, is it a familiar person, the kind of person that my husband was? He was, because also Charl never drove the same route. He was very attentive. If you drove a Toyota, he would drive past, he would know, okay, stay in his home. He would always scan. He would always be scanned, But it was COVID. So the shooter had a hoodie and a mask. But to put such a perfect plan together was not one person.
No, there had to be more. Even the fact that he picked up the case cells.
Yes.
He knew when there were 6 cells, right?
Absolutely.
When he picked up that, this is a guy that was trained.
Exactly.
He's done this before. He's a professional.
And you are coming for a decorated cop of 31 years who knows his life is in danger. It's not anybody's job to do. So yes, hence I get your question. Are there politicians involved? We know for a fact with these Johannesburg cases there were police officers involved. We know for a fact he was investigating the issuing of firearm licenses. Because if you look at it, you are stopped at the robot. They search you or they ask whatever, they get a firearm. You produce your firearm license and there you go. Nobody at that particular place, nobody investigates. When did you get it? Where did you get it? How long did it? Nobody does.
Just as long as you have
You've got your license. And your license is legal. And in our case now, he decided to go and to dig. And obviously, look, if you look and quote the figures that's thrown around and the numbers, what was paid for pinging, what was paid for this, what was paid for that. I can only but think that all of us, logic tells us that you will invest so much because you are losing so much. You're not going to pay X amount or millions if I'm only losing 100 rand here. Which tells me whoever the parties are involved were losing millions. If they prepared to pay what they have paid, as shown in the court statements and documents and things. So it's really for us, it's what a tangle we weave. Because as I said, it was like for me, and I said it, the classification was sort of just to give everybody enough time, get your ducks in a row, be it to apply early retirement, do whatever you have to, and get out.
Yeah.
So you can get out with your pension at least. That's how I feel about it. The declassification of the document, I applied thrice, and I was denied to do so. Then all of a sudden, I heard there's a press conference.
Without you being notified.
Without us being notified, I got to know through media,
Yeah.
and that's how I attended. And then they had the nerve, the iPad panel, to say that they felt they owed the nation an explanation.
What about his family?
What about his family? Knowing that I've applied to have that document declassified how many times. And you come there with no answers. Because everything that is in the document was written about in media anyway, already. Karen Dolly them wrote about it all over.
Yes.
But you should have come to tell us that day, these were the how many ever officers implicated. That officer has been suspended.
Yeah.
This and this and this has happened. They couldn't give us any answers. We were exactly where we were 3 years ago, because that was last year, November. So we were exactly where we were. The report was released in 2022. Nothing was done. No steps were taken. There was disciplinary hearings. We know the late General Lincoln and General Jacob stopped these because they felt they're not going to get a fair trial. So they went to the SSPC, I think, or something. But General Theo, who was crime intelligence, was supposed to be giving instructions for my husband's protection, quietly somewhere had his, and was found not guilty. Yes, my husband didn't trust CI, Western Cape. And I supported him 1,000% behind that. Because the very people he wrote about was following my kids, sitting outside our doors. There's no way I'm going to allow you into my house to come so that you can tell the next person the wall is higher or lower or wherever. So I absolutely supported my husband. In the first place, when it came to our security, it had to go national in the first place. Because they knew that my husband there was tension between the Western Cape and us as a family. So they had to go national. But I almost want to go as far as saying that would have also not helped us. Because with my risk assessment, General Theo did one, and another general a year later did one at national. Verbatim, the same. But we're sitting in different provinces. Verbatim the same. I was made out to be this traumatized widow, seeing curtains move or whatever. By the grace of God, is what I'm speaking to you now. I could speak to everyone, even at the scene. Yes, my kids and I were crying. But we had an immense calmness. Because I think God knew the fight that we were up against. We didn't know.
Yes.
But He knew. Because heaven forbid if I had to be on tablets, to keep me sane and whatever, because everything that was going on and around, and because, like I mentioned to you before, and I made it clear, that day there, I can't even remember who the captain was from the Cape Town Hawks, came to me and said, Mrs. Kinnear, don't worry, I'm so-and-so from the Hawks, Cape Town Week. And I said, you're going to do what? I said, there's no way you are coming close to my husband's docket. No way. And the Saturday morning, the minister and the head of the Hawks and provincial commissioners and everybody was there. And my words to the minister then was, thank you for not coming to bullshit me, because you see that gate, I would have put you out. Because when asked why the guarding was withdrawn, he told me he needs to investigate. And I take my hat off for Minister Chere for that. That he didn't come and try and spin me a story. And he also publicly there said, we failed the colonel. We failed this family.
Yeah.
Later on, you could see, with all the faults and all the everything that they're throwing against and what Minister Cherry did not do.
Yeah.
But give due where it's due.
Yeah.
He said straight away, we failed. Later on, as he started communicating, I could now see, no. Now legal services is first advising me what to say.
Yeah.
But that Saturday, he was bluntly honest.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for SAPS, they can't go and retract anything of what he said because he admitted there already. And I told him there again. And then they told me, but it's mandate for the Hawks to take my husband's document, his docket.
Yeah.
And I said, bull.
Yeah.
I said, because I know how many other police officers, murders or whatever, dockets was on my husband's desk. So I said, what makes my husband's life any different than that constable or that? Don't come tell me it's mandate. Was mandatory for the Hawks to do it. And I insisted. And again, they tried to make me out to be this, but eventually I was heard. And we were given a brigadier then that came from Limpopo. And he had a task team that he assembled. And I was honest with him. I told him straight away I don't trust. I told him why I don't trust him, etc. I told him, you're sitting in the Hawks office. We're in the modern day technology. You take a phone call, you walk out. There's nothing to take a photograph. And off you go. We don't need to make photocopies anymore. So I was bluntly honest with him. And they worked for 18 months. They worked here. And then the breakthroughs and the breakthroughs. And they started and they started. And obviously now the puzzle started, fitting into each other. And at some stage, the brig, he's also then, or is now the head of the Hawks in the Western Cape. But he also said at some stage he's got to draw the line now, because if he's just going to keep on taking cases and taking cases, we know we're going to get to trial. Which took us to the trial in High Court. Look, we were very hopeful to finish this year. But our judge was called to take the bench in the Supreme Court. And obviously, as the justice system works, the higher court will always take preference. So hence why we've been in recess since March until now, October. And I don't think we are gonna really get through it. Modak is still on the stand. So he's still busy testifying. Then it still needs cross-questioning. All of that needs to happen. He has also made it clear. This very same, and I said it publicly in the witness box, that he's calling General Theo. He wants to call General Theo and he wants to call Captain Barker to come and testify as his witnesses. General Theo is the head of the Western Cape CI. I mean, seriously? You are facing one of the biggest underworld court cases in High Court, if not in South Africa, and you inviting the head of CI to come and testify for accused number one. And I'm sitting there and I'm like stunned, And at one stage, Judge Henny jumped in when some of the police officers were testifying, and he actually asked them, "What police force are you working for?" Because he was boggled that they allowed things to go as far as what it did. So whether SAPS want to go left or go right, they were negligent.
They were.
They were negligent.
And like I said, they could have prevented this.
They could have prevented it because they knew about it and still did nothing. My point is this, and like I mentioned earlier in terms of the organogram, yes, my husband fell under like General Lincoln as a commander and whatever. A lot of people threw General Lincoln and said he and whatever. What about okay, was it General Veery? He was head of the detectives. He claimed to be on the same hit list. You had your armed guards. What did you do to make sure that your detective, seeing that you're the head of the Western Cape detectives, is protected? So it's also very convenient when I choose to take charge and when I choose to, to push him into somebody else's hands. General Lincoln has also since then passed on.
Yeah.
But so it's like everyone is shifting the buck.
Yeah. Nobody's taking responsibility.
Nobody is prepared to take responsibility or accountability. Yeah. It's commission upon commission upon commission. It's nearly like General Mkonazi's story now. Another commission. Yeah. We had the Zondo.
Yes.
Then there's recommendations and nothing is put in place.
Exactly.
Nothing follows through.
Exactly.
IPID had done an investigation for 2 years. Taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Did an investigation. Came with our recommendations saying this one should be charged. Was negligent. He should have done this in the Colonel's case. He should have done that. To date, nothing has been done.
5 years later.
5 years later.
Nikki, 2 questions because we have 8 minutes left still. And this case it's only making a lot of things are coming to light now, right? But this is what I want to ask you. Are you ever since afraid? Because did they give you protection? Do you have protection? What Modek understand? These guys have people on the outside. Or let's get guys. They can get to you anytime. I mean, we know these guys operate with cell phones. I mean, a couple of weeks back, they had a raid in Polsmoor. These guys have cell phones. So it's nothing for them to make a call and say, hey, they're doing too much. Are you fearing for your life in your kids?
Stan, always. Always. Because of the fact that my husband was fighting the enemy on the outside and the enemy within. So we've always needed to watch our backs.
Yeah.
Modek wants to call me as his witness. I said, please do. I'll be the biggest state witness defense has ever called.
Yeah.
But it's all forms of intimidation.
Yeah.
But once again, our court case started the 28th of January. The Sunday, my protection started 6 o'clock as per normal. 8 o'clock, they just got a call a day before to withdraw.
So,
General Patekile, still today. He cannot handle me, cannot fathom me, and I'll keep on asking the questions. I'll keep on asking the questions because I lost my husband who was supposed to be looking after me because of your negligence. As SAPS, you might not have been the PC, but if you step into that chair, you take over everything.
Exactly.
So I'm so sorry if you weren't here in 2020, but I'm now your problem that you inherited.
Yes. And
obviously with the CI and all the debacle and things happening, obviously we are fearful. And I need to be cautious. I mean, a letter was left in my husband's flowers already.
In your husband's flowers?
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah. And so there are a lot of things. But the one thing that I stand by, the day we are born and the day we close our eyes, those are dates and days that God has set down.
True.
How it happened is a different case. But I refuse to give anybody credit for that. It's what happens in between here that matters. And I will fight for my husband. I will continue to stand and fight. And I will continue to stand and fight for the other police officers out there that's going through what we went through.
Yes.
Because my husband could have at any time turned around and walked away and said, you know what, I'm not putting my family at risk.
Yeah.
I'm walking away. He didn't because he took an oath to protect and serve. And I want to encourage our men and women in blue, our honest, hard-working men and women in blue. Stand for your oath. Even if you stand alone, you stand for your oath.
Yeah.
You took an oath not for a unit. You took an oath in the South African Police Service.
Yeah.
My husband went and stripped other AGU people that were corrupt from their ranks on a parade.
Yeah.
Same unit. But he said, my oath didn't go, I'm for AGU.
Yeah.
My oath went South African Police Service. So if you need to stand up against your brother, against your sister, we can't have blue and orange is not the same color.
Yeah.
And so to the families out there, the spouses, the fiancés, support your loved ones. Support them.
Yeah.
Because we don't know really what they're going through there. I never used to sleep when my husband is out investigating. And likewise, I'm sure there's many other women as well. To those females, wives, spouses that's sacrificing, hang in there. Support. Support. Even if you feel, I know there's officers that have resigned because they just can't take it anymore. We are losing our equipped and our experienced people. And we as communities and fellow South Africans, we must make sure that we keep them in. We cannot have those who stay behind because they should actually be in orange overalls.
Yes.
We cannot have those still wearing blue uniforms. So let us go out there and let us support our officers. I'm not saying that they aren't corrupt cops. Yeah. Please understand me, they are.
Yeah.
And it's our job to get rid of them.
Exactly.
So let us stand for the good ones and fight to get rid of the bad ones.
Nikki, thank you so much. As we come to a close, I just want to ask you the last question. Maybe that's how we can end. What do you want to see happening at the end of this trial? What is justice to you? What would justice mean? Because we have the guys locked up in prison currently. But I mean, losing a loved one. I mean, he was a hero to us, to the people on the Cape Flats. We don't want to see that guy sitting there and eating from our tax money. We want him to hang. But unfortunately, this is South Africa. And that is my opinion. But what is it that Nikki wants out of this whole thing when it's over?
A lot of people have asked me, will I get closure? For example, when they are sentenced or whatever. So I said, I don't believe that anybody getting a sentence or anything will give me closure. God alone can give me that closure. But what I want from here, or to get from it, is that those good officers out there, as I've mentioned before, that they know, you know what, I can actually get up, I can go and do my job. Somebody's got my back. I can say today, nobody had my husband's back. He was thrown to the wolves because they left him unguarded. They knew everything that was happening and they left him. Nothing we can do can bring my husband back. But we can also not have this ostrich mentality, which is still being had within the organization. So maybe eendag as ek my kop uithaal, dan gaan dit all right wees. It's not going to. If senior management is not going to step in and make sure that things are in place. Because I don't care whether you're a detective at a specialized unit like my husband was, or whether you are a detective sitting down the long passages in in Menenberg or wherever. If your life is in danger, your life is in danger.
Exactly.
Is the entitlement for protection only for a certain rank and up? And is this not the reason why we're getting the caliber of investigations that we have? Because ek moet vanaand nog weer huis toe gaan. Ek het al geskryf om gevra om oor te plaas te word. Hulle weier. I've asked for this, they refuse. I've asked if I can take my firearm home. No, my 108 is not your 108. Because that is the reality. Our members are still being sent home, some of them having to book in and out the firearm, so they leave without taking a firearm home.
They can't protect themselves.
They can't protect themselves. And you're doing this knowing what kind of investigation this person is doing. Then we all want to get like an ice bucket, as now we've got a cold shower when police officers take their own lives or they shoot their families or whatever the case may be. But we are not there supporting. And for me, I want people, our case must be, it will never bring my husband back. I don't know whether I'll find closure the day they get, if they sentence and whatever, because my life is still going to be empty. I still go to an empty bed. My kids are still going through what they're going through. But if our case, can save another family from having to go, because I wish, not even from my biggest enemy, do I wish what we had to endure. Because remember, this didn't start on the 18th of September. This started in 2001, when my husband was falsely accused and suspended.
20 years ago almost.
You know what I'm saying? So if I say been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen how officers or other officers try and frame you because you are not with us. And so for me, that is the lesson. That we as communities stop protecting. Stop protecting the gangster. Now the police come in, now we throw them with stones. But tomorrow when they shoot on your child, then you're the first one to say the ambulance took 3 hours to come. Why did the ambulance take 3 hours? Because yesterday they were stoned. Likewise with SAPs. So let us take hands with the good ones and get rid of the bad ones. That is within our communities, within the organization. That's the only way for me forward. For me, I feel with our case, SAPs had all the opportunities to gain the trust of our communities by stepping up and by saying, acknowledging, listen, this is where we failed. This is where this is what we as SAPs are going to do. But thus far, 5 years later, they've done nothing but cover up. The one for the other. From that first phone call that they got saying there's going to be a hit, from that first time they picked up the pinging, up till the iPad report being classified, declassified, they've done nothing. And they had all the time to come clean. So I think SAPs shot themselves in the foot even more because we as community, not only me as a family, as community, we don't trust them, even less. And all they had to do is take some accountability. Somebody needs to take accountability. It's no use having an imbizo here and an imbizo there.
And you do nothing.
And you do nothing.
Exactly.
Accountability. General Patekile needs to step up to the Western Cape and to the Western Cape's people.
I think we need to be very firm and say either step up or step out.
Exactly.
Step out, because at the end of the day, we can't lose another family man. I mean, and like I say, a lot of people with the experience are leaving the force. And now you're sitting with people that don't know what's happening. Now they have 300 cases on dockets on their table and they don't know what to do.
And remember, these guys go and get, now not to speak out, if I look at some of the legal representation that some of these guys had, they go and get the best of the best. And you can't blame that detective that's only been on in service came out of the college, whatever. He's got a lack of experience. Then we as people become frustrated because why are these guys out on the streets? We don't have the expertise. And all of us, whether you started in your kind of job, my job, we had to start somewhere. But through the years, there was somebody that took us by the hand and taught us what is the right way, what is the wrong way, until we could stand on our own feet. So I'm not saying they're never going to get there, but there's nobody to hold their hands.
Exactly. Nikki, we can talk for hours. There's so much we must still talk about, but we will have you back in the studio because we need to have a follow-up. Nikki, all the best to you and the kids. I know that you guys are going through a tough time. I mean, some of us lose family members and we still, go through that mourning for years. So my condolences, but I pray for you guys. May God guide you. And then, I just hope that everything will work out at the end of the day. That, that people will see this as an opportunity to unite, as an opportunity to stand up against corruption. Corruption from government level down. We need a cleaner governance. And that is what your husband died for. He was a crime fighter.
Yeah. And I just want to say, you know what? Leave the surname.
Yeah.
It's not about Colonel Kinnear. It could be Abrams, it could be September, it could be October, it could be anybody out there.
Yeah.
This fight that I'm fighting or that I've taken on and keep on pushing for is for everyone out there. So it's not as it alweer Kinnear nie. People must get away from that. It's our people.
Exactly.
It's your son.
Yes.
It's your daughter
Yes.
who's in a uniform and that can be facing the challenge tomorrow.
Yeah. And I didn't even get to the part where you spoke about at the event where I was 2 years ago. We your children were studying, and how SEPs disappointed you.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have to come to that part, but I'm not going to keep you long. But we will come back and we will talk more on this later on. Nikki, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow her. Please go on to our Facebook page. It's what is that?
Justice for Lt Col Kinnear.
Please follow her. Follow that page. It's always updated on the latest what is happening on the trial, on the case. These guys live in our communities. They are part of our families. And just before I end off, there was a picture of Modek where he posted it with him and Zayn just prior to him going to prison. That picture told us a story. That was more or less the time, because I remember on the picture he said, on his story he said, Zayn is working for him. Any business or dealings, they must come to Zayn. And I think for that reason, that picture speaks a lot of words, because it was more or less the time when Zayn started, March month, started pinging Kinnear, his phone. So these guys are giving a lot of information also on social media. And if we have proper, governance, these things can be caught out before it happens. The colonel could have been saved, but because of somebody that didn't do their job, he was left alone. He needed SEPs to help him, but there was no SEPs at the time. So we need to be very much aware of what's happening within SEPs and keep those accountable that makes the decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please do share this live. And it's very important for us to follow the case. Thank you so much. Until next week again. Cheers.